Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 883. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
A jam-packed episode of Ye Old Podcast. Once again with, lots of stuff. News of course, a new costume for our new Doctor Who and companion. Chris Boucher died this past week. We'll talk about that. And also Doctor Who leaving streaming services?
Question mark?
Cool. Yeah, looks like they are. We'll talk about that. Just a reminder, though, that the Fluid Links Advent Calendar rolls on our Radio Free Skaro Fluid Links Advent Calendar on YouTube. If you could be bothered to watch, just a hard sell there. I know there's not as many people watching this, but maybe people just listen to them and stuff. You know what? The video versions are pretty fun too. So they're
guilting the audience.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll always do it.
They're on our website. Each post, each day, they're on there. They're on our YouTube page. There's a link in the show notes there's a link in the show notes, right, Chris? To the playlist.
There is.
There, if you want to have a look there. So yeah, there. So there's wrapping up. And I have 2 more to edit, and it's December 18th. So you better get those done sometime in the next week before Christmas. But yeah, hope everyone's enjoying those that have watched and listened and contributed and everything else. It's our annual little tradition that I don't remember how many years we've done it. This Fluid Links Advent Calendar. It's been a while.
At least 5, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
6 or 7?
Oh yeah, I know we did the Lego Telesnap ones for a couple years, and then we didn't, and then we're doing the video ones this year. But
Lego was 3 years ago and 4 years ago. I want to say
right. We must have done. They must be 5 then. I think we did at least 1 year before without the visual element to it.
I want to say at least more than 1 year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd look it up, but effort.
That's true. That's true. Bonus content every December for you, the listeners. Also, I want to point out that next week, I don't know if you noticed, but next Sunday is December 25th, potentially the last ever Christmas day that doesn't have a Doctor Who Christmas special on it, which is exciting in and of itself. But there won't be an RFS episode that day. Instead, it's going to come out on December 27th. Because this is years in the making, folks. There's going to be a Radio Free Skaro Christmas party episode marathon recording. We're recording like 3 portions of 3 episodes, basically in one afternoon before we all break off for supper somewhere. So we're going to record our next episode live and in person. I think we've tried this. We planned for it, twice, I think, and then various stages of the pandemic, the global COVID-19 pandemic, which is still going on if you're binging this. We're finally going to get together and brave all strains of this coronavirus to bring you.
The first Christmas since 2019 I've been to Edmonton, I think.
Did you? Yeah, that's right. Because
you were here. You were here last year.
No, not for Christmas, I wasn't.
No, not for Christmas, no. Because that's when Omicron took off. Remember Omicron?
Christmas?
Remember that one? That was fun.
No, I was there, I'm sure nobody cares, but I was there in March of this year. And I think maybe March or something around there the year before, but I was never there for Christmas.
Right.
Because you're right, Omicron.
That March trip that I think was what I was thinking of.
It all mushes together, I understand.
It does.
It does. Almost 3 years of mushing together.
Yeah, but Omicron was out of control at the time, as I recall.
It was.
We did not yet have anything to fight such a thing.
No.
I think it was only 2 vaccinations in at the time, not before.
As we record this 4 days ago, I got my 5th shot. So I mean,
nice. Wow, congratulations. I have to wait. Eric can get hers on the 26th of December. I have to wait because apparently getting COVID, as I did in mid-October, that
resets the clock.
Makes me invincible, apparently, and I'm not able to get the shot until 5 months after that. So hopefully just before Gallifrey 1, which is also 2 damn months away, folks. Gallifrey 1... That's exciting. I haven't even listened. It's been it's been a crazy month and a bit here in this household, so I haven't even begun to think about Gallifrey 1. I'm glad I booked my flights. I'm glad I have a hotel, because otherwise I would be panicking about such things right now.
I have yet to book my flight, and I am panicking a little about it.
But are your flight prices still idiotically high?
That's why I put it off, and I keep sort of putting it off. So we'll see.
Because usually,
eventually, I've just got to bite the bullet.
Well, yeah, because usually it's like what, $100? Because there's like 86 flights a day between Vancouver and LA.
Even before the pandemic, it was about $350. Then it kind of crawled up to $450, and now it's hovering around $700. Which LA Vancouver is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Yeah.
No, if that's double the price, that's a jump.
I mean, I'm still going to do it at some point, but
yeah. Yeah, it's part of our annual budget, isn't it, here? The three of us, the three who rule, which we've rarely said on air, but that's what we call ourselves for some reason, is to put money away, sock some money away to go to Gallifrey 1 every single year. So, because it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's going to be fun when the time comes to go to Gallifrey 1 in Los Angeles, California, February 17th and 19th. Jodie Whittaker is going to be the headline guest. I'm not sure if you heard. She what was Doctor Who in TV's Doctor Who for the past 5 years. So get your tickets at GallifreyWin.com. She's no longer Doctor Who because Ncuti Gatwa is Doctor Who. Of course, we learned that a while ago. But on Saturday, thank you, BBC, by the way. Thank you so much for dropping this on Saturday when we're recording this. We're recording this on Saturday night.
Well done.
If we were recording this Saturday morning, we'd be screwed. But they unveiled the new costume for the Doctor and Ruby Sunday, as played by Millie Gibson. And there it is. If we were on video, we'd show it right now, but we're not. So Ncuti Gatwa's got like an orange top, and he's got like two. This I find this somewhat controversial. Two sort of competing plaid, sort of tartan kind of patterns on his trousers and on his coat, which I find kind of intriguing. I guess you can do this now. When I was not growing up, you would basically have a solid colored coat and patterned trousers, or vice versa. So
when you were growing up, Colin Baker was the Doctor, so everything goes out the window.
That's a good point. I like it. There's a certain, like, the brown and orange like really screams like the Sweeney to me. Like, I feel like he's kind of like on a cop show, you know. Like, I kind of like it. It kind of ties back in a way to Eccleston's costume, in that it's just like, you know, basic shirt, pants, coat, go have some adventures.
My whole thing is that every single modern Doctor, including Eccleston and all the rest of them, I've always been a little underwhelmed at first by their costumes, because they just aren't as flashy as the old ones. And for some weird classic Who nerd reason, I expect them to be ridiculously flashy, like most of the classic Doctors were. But then you see him in person, or you watch a couple episodes, and you're totally fine with it. And this happened quicker for Ncuti Gatwa for me, because I watched an Instagram where he's just being his old charming self in this costume. I'm like, okay, I'm in. Just when you see him moving around, you're like, yeah, okay, sounds good.
Yep. Yeah, him and Millie are strutting around, you know, each sort of filming their respective costume twirls and swirls and stuff, and you know, and then they show that Ncuti Gatwa has got, like, he's got rings, which is way cool, and he also has, like, on at least on one of the fingers, though, he had like a Gallifreyan like temporary tattoo, like written in Gallifreyan on his fingernail, which was kind of cool.
Nail art.
There we are. That would be.
And also, nobody's talking about this yet. He's keeping the mustache.
I know. He's the first proper mustachioed, apart from John Hurt, I guess. You know, the first regular Doctor who is wearing a mustache, which is controversial. Personally, I'm taking offense as someone who cannot grow a mustache. I feel like I am being sort of like sidelined here. So I'm pretty upset about that. So, boo. I'm just saying that. I mean, we saw that he was wearing a mustache in the brief clip on the Next Time trailer, but it's cool. And he has like his you know, natural color of hair. Remember when they announced him, he had blonde hair, and everyone thought it was going to be blonde. But then, like, on Friday, the trailer for the Barbie movie dropped, and then you see briefly there's Ncuti Gatwa there. He's got his big head of blonde hair and stuff. So now you see why he had the blonde hair, because he was in the Barbie movie coming out in July. So.
I saw Max Kasheveski. I'm going to say his name wrong, but he's like, Sonic Screwdriver looks weird, and I don't know the costume, but whatever, I'll go with it.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, that's a pretty good trailer. They mock 2001's
Yeah.
opening, but they do a very good job of mocking
good.
2001, I have to say.
It was good. Yeah. Speaking of someone who likes that movie a lot, and not to throw away Millie Gibson's look as Ruby Sunday, but I mean the companion changes clothes every day. I mean, this is basically here is Millie Gibson on day one of shooting. Essentially, this is what she's going to look like, and then like in 3 days, her outfit will be changed, and maybe
Did Billie Piper's? It didn't know that much.
Well, once she stopped back home to pick up her stuff, and off she went. Yeah. I'm curious to see if the overall, the silhouette will probably stay the same. Like maybe Ncuti Gatwa changes up the shirt, maybe the trousers change a little bit, kind of like Capaldi kind of really played with the whole aesthetic of it all. I think Matt Smith kind of stayed pretty straight and narrow, wearing a basic sort of, outfit, and then he changed it for Series 7 and stuff. And Tennant kind of changed the shirt and tie a lot, but stuck with the same sort of aesthetic a little bit. I wonder if there's going to be elements.
Capaldi went from the coat to the hoodie as well.
He did, yeah. But he would, like sometimes going to wear these type of pants and this here, and they'll have the hoodie, and they'll have a different coat on top of it. They were mixing and matching a lot, and I'm wondering if that'll be the same here.
I was trying to figure out who is the more modern Doctors did the most classic Who-ish and I would have to be Matt Smith's purple outfit, but then again, Capaldi's velvet coat is pretty close.
It's very John Pertwee, early, like season 7 Pertwee, wasn't Capaldi's, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is unique too. I mean, just the colors. I just quite like the.
And he might change it later, like a couple seasons down the road. They might mix it and match it a bit.
They might do it. Yeah. The shoes, interesting shoes. I don't quite know what. Or are they boots? Are they boots that he's wearing? Ncuti Gatwa? They are wearing boots.
Those are fine boots. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both wearing boots.
They're both wearing boots of some sort. How do you feel about the boots? Any boot comments out there?
I like them to the point where I'm like, maybe I could get a pair of those boots. And I did some inquiries, and apparently they're around 200 Southern American, which for boots isn't so bad.
No. What do you know what what the maker of these boots are, Warren? Did you?
I will find it in a second.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
All right, what do you got?
I think talking of Capaldi and his attire, was it Paul Smith?
Paul Smith, he was responsible.
But that's very expensive.
Some of it. Paul Smith also made the Jodie Whittaker scarf. As seen in the first holiday special, which I have that scarf.
I'm going to quote a period PBS scholar, Amanda Ray Prescott, who says they look like solivers. I've never heard of them until she said that, but that's what they are.
Solivers. Spell it out, Warren. What do you spell it?
SOLOVAIR.
VAIR.
British, but they have apparently a US site. I don't know if they have a Canadian one.
Oh. Look at that. Jeez, we're just all over this. But where else can you get this kind of important information, folks?
They look like dress shoes, but in boot form.
Yeah.
Dress boots.
I suppose. But of course, me being a humorless vegetarian, I would probably not be able to get a vegan version of these. I'll bet
they might be vegan leather. You never know.
They're made out of Beyond Meat. So good luck with that.
Well, let me just say this: they do have vegan boots. All right. Well, I'll bookmark on that website. We'll see what happens there, because you never know. Maybe if I can't get the exact model, I can at least get the same manufacturer, I guess. Maybe. Anyway, they got a lot of them, actually. Well, this is what an interesting. I'm learning along with you, listeners, about the boots that Ncuti Gatwa was going to wear as Doctor Who. So very exciting. Obviously, they are unveiling these on a Saturday, which is kind of a bizarre time. But I'm imagining that given where they are standing in the two officially released photo shoots, Ncuti Gatwa was standing on a nice sort of sunset backdrop there, which is kind of nice. And then there's Ncuti and Millie, short for Millicent. It's not. Millie Gibson standing outside a trailer, assuming so. They're probably shooting somewhere on location.
Yeah, I think they're cutting off some spy photos at the pass here. Yeah,
probably. So this is traditionally the thing they do before the costume gets leaked in, long lens fan shots. Let's unveil it properly, and then people can go see it. So set reporters, start your engines. Now is the time that you've been waiting for to go and spy on Doctor Who filming and spoiling it for everyone else. Go forth. Any other thoughts and topics on the costumes at all? Did you have any more opinions on Millie or Ncuti's looks? No.
No, they're
It's
good.
an awful lot of brown. I mean,
That's
brown
true. There's a
coat,
fair bit
brown
of
trousers, brown boots.
Right.
I don't know. Is that relying too much on one
color?
color?
I don't think any of us are qualified to judge on this.
Hey,
frankly.
I enjoy it.
I'm really the last person to critique.
Yeah,
fashion.
I'm sitting in CBC sweatpants at the moment, so don't ask me.
Warren, please. I pride myself on being a fan of fashion.
You just keep on priding yourself then. You can be the voice of reason with this.
I enjoy it. You know what? I kind of always thought this. I always thought that Jodie Whittaker's boots were a bit too clunky, and I think it impaired her ability to run because she always seemed like she was kind of stumbling around as if she was just walked off a work site or something, just clomped around a little bit too much. And I'm hoping that, Doctor Who involves a lot of running, it appears, and I hope that these shoes are active enough to allow Doctor Who to run a little bit. So, and they look like they might. So,
I mean, he's what, 28, 26?
There's
going to be a lot
30.
of running.
He's 30 years
Gatwa
old.
just turned 30.
He's old man.
There'll be
old man
plenty
Gatwa.
running, I think.
Yeah.
Looking at the Solavare website, at least in the vegan boots section, they don't make anything in my size. So.
Well, you should have thought different. You should have thought differently about going.
Someone as tall as you
is
required to eat meat.
You should have stopped. Thought about that about not growing up to be 6'10", Chris, is what your problem is.
Yes, it's all your fault.
Why did you not sort of say when he's you know what, I hit 6'6"? Let's just pause it right there. And
well, they make some non-vegan ones in my size.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't. Why? I mean, you're comfortable with being a murderer of animals. You can quite clearly get a non-vegan.
So far,
shoe.
Stephen has been insulted by our fashion apparently, and he's calling you a murderer.
I am indeed.
He must be stopped.
Yep, meat is murder. Next on the show, Morrissey. No, I'm not kidding.
Delicious murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I look forward.
We'll talk about the Canadian tradition of seal hunting. Next, shall we?
Indeed. Looking forward to seeing these hot fashion looks on Gallifrey 1 runways in February because they're going to be there. There's going to be such a mishmash. There's going to be so many Jodie Whittaker cosplayers because Jodie Whittaker is going to be there, and it's going to be so many Ncuti Gatwa because there it is, and you've got like 2 months to source all your materials and stuff. So get going. This is the golden era for cosplaying, having 2 doctors so fresh in the mind.
And some new Tenant. Don't forget that.
And some new Tenant.
Mix and match their Tenant stuff.
Yeah, God, there's going to be so many. There's going to be so many. So. Yeah. Anyway, Millie's looking good too. How about that? How often have we here's a new male and female fashion line, and we spent 98% talking about what the guy's wearing. That doesn't always happen.
That also he's the doctor.
He's a Doctor
right?
Who.
So
yeah.
she looks like a companion. She looks like an 18-year-old on the streets of London, basically, from what I could tell.
Yep. Obviously, it's not as cold in Cardiff as it is here in Western Canada. Oh man! Send some firewood. By the way, send firewood to Western Canada next week. It's going to be stupid cold.
And I'll be there. Hooray!
You'll be there. Yep. This news dropped about 2 hours before last week's episode came out. So sadly, we weren't able to talk about this. But Chris Boucher died this past week. Chris Boucher wrote 3 Doctor Who stories: The Face of Evil, The Robots of Death, and Image of the Fen Doll. Then Blake Seven stole him away and made him script editor of that show for the entirety of the 4 seasons that it ran, and he went on to create Star Cops as well. He was the last surviving writer from the 1970s. There are no more left. The earliest surviving the earliest episode that has a writer that is still with us is Meglos, if you can believe it.
Wow.
My word. So there's a great line that everyone's saying, of course, is there's so many lines that Chris Boucher wrote, but the now that I'm forgetting it, the very powerful and the very stupid have one thing in common. They don't alter their views to fit the facts. They alter the facts to fit their views. That is one of his. There's, your classic example of the inverse ratio between the size of the mouth and the size of the brain. There are so many wonderful one-liners. Blake Seven is replete with them. He made that show. He was so good. He was so good. So yeah, man, he's one of the great underrated writers in Doctor Who. I kind of wish that he had stayed on in Doctor Who and Blake Seven didn't steal him away, because I just wonder how many more nuggets he could have provided. Doctor Who.
The 3 he did, pretty stellar.
They are. Like, even the stories are good. Like, even just the lines are good. But, like, Robots of Death is, like, just one of those classic things. You know, the way the dialogue just sort of just flows so nicely in those opening scenes on the cocaine-infested sand miner. You know, like...
It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good. And everyone's just into it. And it's just, like, he was just one of the most wonderful writers. And
Image like, is just genuinely creepy as hell.
Yeah, it really is.
The whole suicide scene, for example, like that is
about
like as dark as Doctor Who has ever gotten in the classic run.
It's like it's got this creeping dread that a lot of Doctor Who tries for and doesn't quite get, and it really does. And some of that probably due to the direction as well, but it's really well done.
It is really well done. And you know what really strikes me about that line, the one that I mangled at the top, the very powerful and very stupid. Everyone, you know, it's been you know, gifted and everything and quoted everywhere else. What's so brilliant about it is that if you watch the scene in which it happens, Fates of Evil Part 4, it's the main thrust of that scene is that Leela is discovering that she's sort of possessed and she's by like Zoanna and she's going to try to kill the Doctor. And the Doctor's line that he's saying the very powerful and the very stupid, is happening in the background. One of the most iconic bits of writing in Doctor Who history is said in the background of a scene. That's the kind of writer that Chris Boucher was, that he could just pepper something in like that, and it's not even the main part of a scene. If that was written today, Peter Capaldi would be shouting it for the rooftops, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Chris Boucher sort of does this in his sleep, and that was just like his first ever episode on Doctor Who. What a talent.
I mean... Everything, anytime Villa opens his mouth on Blake 7, it's just absolute gold coming out of it.
It's so good. You could tell where the Terry Nation storyline ends and Chris Boucher's insertion of dialogue begins, you know? Especially with Avon in the later years, and then Chris Boucher starts writing episodes, and it's just like, oh, there's so much gold. So much gold. So it's very sad. I wish that, I mean, if you ever see him on documentaries and on commentary, he's only on the one commentary, that the very first DVD for Robots of Death, it was him and Philip Hinchcliffe, and he was a very soft-spoken person. I wish that he would have had the opportunity to come like to a Gallifrey one where, you know, they praise the writers of Doctor Who, both past and present, and to know how much his work was loved over the years, because he was a titan. He was a titan in Doctor Who. Very sad to lose him. So, R.I.P. Chris Boucher. What else we got here? What else is happening in this week? Well,
I threw it at the end, but we got one other death to mention, so we may as well just mention that here.
Yeah, Jane Sherwin died. Jane Sherwin, who played Lady Jennifer in the War Games, was wonderful. Her and Lieutenant Carstairs made for a wonderful little romantic duo in the first 5 episodes. It's amazing that she leaves after episode 5 in the War Games. Jane Sherwin, she passed away at the age of 88 this past week. She was, at the time, she was the wife of producer Derek Sherwin, but she was really, really good. The War Games, there's a humanity to the War Games because of Carstairs and Lady Jennifer sort of being that human thrust, sort of like maybe having a bit of relationship, you know, like sort of burgeoning and it's almost sad. Like, we think about how sad it is that Jamie and Zoe are taken away and you know, have their memories wiped essentially, and then like Carstairs goes to the doctor, you know, can I come back with you too? I'd rather like to catch up with Lady Jennifer. And you think, oh, and then he just fades away and they don't get to reunite, and it's very sad. So she was good in that. I saw her in Blake 7 too, but she was also very good in Doctor Who. So that was sad. Passed away at the age of 88. On to other news, which is Doctor Who looks like it's leaving a bunch of places. So I think I forget the Twitter listener. I'm very sorry, person on Twitter who first alerted us to this. But on Crave, it boldly states, Crave here in Canada, that, and on CTV Sci-Fi, that Doctor Who, the modern series, the entirety of it, series 1 through 13, is available until January 6th. You go on to TV New Zealand, there are only 3 episodes left, the last 3 Jodie Whittaker specials, one of which, Eva the Daleks, ends its run on New Year's Day, basically 1 year after. So I imagine Legend of the Sea Devils will end its time on April 18th and Power of the Doctor on the 24th, because that's how long, unless other circumstances make it leave earlier. And then, oddly enough, ABC iView has the last bit of Series 4, the Tenet specials, and Series 5, and then the Jodie Whittaker specials. And it says that the Series 5 specials are all leaving around sometime during January, different times of the month. So all of a sudden, there's nothing now. There's nothing on HBO Max. We can't find any end dates or anything like that. We've done a lot of digging around. We can't find anything like that. But it very much looks like modern Doctor Who is leaving their streaming homes, perhaps quicker than I thought. I thought perhaps this would hold on until a few months into 2023 and then maybe show up in Disney Plus. But it looks like, folks, that it might be happening sooner.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be, and I don't know if that, I'm just guessing here. Mm-hmm. Maybe Disney wants to prepare people for Doctor Who by putting the quote unquote old new stuff on there first. I doubt it. It would make more sense to have a big splash with and then go, oh, and by the way, if you like this, there's also all this other stuff you can watch.
Yeah.
I can't seem to do a classic, but it doesn't make sense that they wouldn't have it, really.
I mean, you would think it would go there eventually, but would you want that to precede the official Disney stuff, you know?
Well, I'm of two minds. I mean, I think it'd be nice. It'd be convenient for me since I have Disney and I got rid of Crave. Mm-hmm. But having said that, I think from a pure marketing perspective, if you're Disney, it makes more sense to go, look at this crazy new thing we got. And also, here's more of this crazy new thing that you didn't even know existed, probably, if you're a new viewer.
Yeah. I know. Chris, you have any thoughts?
I'm curious to see when these will transfer to Disney Plus, or if, or whatever, and how much lag time there will be, because we've talked in the past about how annoying it is when streaming, like when the streaming home of whatever show changes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as Warren just said, like, he subscribes to one and not to the other, and keeping track of where things are is hard enough in the first place, but having to, you know, change your subscriptions potentially, and an even bigger concern is if these all disappear off iView and Crave and whatever, and they don't show up on Disney Plus for 3, 6, 9, 12 months,
which could happen,
then where do you go for them? I mean,
is this like Disney locking it away in the vault, so to speak? You know,
we're locking Doctor Who in the vault.
Are we back to that again? Yeah, basically, it says no one can see Doctor Who until you see our Doctor Who, and then you can see the other Doctor Who.
People in Britain are going to be fine because it's all they're on iPlayer. That's great, but I mean, the rest of the planet not so lucky, potentially anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
but I can't see them buying the rights to Doctor Who, and also given the money they have and how cheap, comparatively speaking, to other things they've spent money on is, like, why not just get all the new series?
Yeah, like it makes sense eventually, but like you were saying, like, well, like the timing is interesting. Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's a thing. Hey, why not? We have the rights. It's good family fare. We have, 11 months until we debut
Maybe it's a way to build it up. I don't know.
It's a way to build it up.
How they want to do it.
Yeah.
It'd be a great way to develop an audience for sure.
Yeah. Even if it isn't their Doctor Who per se. It's interesting, actually. You know what? I'm mildly surprised by how much I've seen of Disney involved in this. I mean, they do the tweets and stuff about the new costume and stuff, but I think it was on I saw it screen grab. Understand that I'm not a big Instagram user, so it's probably like on a reel or something. It's probably lost in the midst of time now. But on Ncuti Gatwa's Instagram, they had a picture of his first day on set, and there was a bouquet of flowers, and there was something else on his little trailer table, and there was a nice little gift package from Disney Plus. Disney actually sent him a little thing, and you know what? I feel like their fingerprints are on this show a little more than I thought they were going to be. So maybe they are going to be diving into the back catalog and easing people into it. Who knows?
Another thing I just thought of is not everybody's as extremely online about everything that's happening about Doctor Whoever as we are, and many other people we know are. Some people are fans of the show, have watched it, probably have no idea there's a new Doctor, or maybe have heard tentative, or maybe not.
That's true.
And so if they're watching Disney Plus, or they've got it for their kids or whatever, and they see all this Doctor Who stuff show up, that is a good way to lead them into it, and then go, hey, by the way, surprise, this other new stuff's coming that you didn't even know about, because some people are just casual fans, not like us knowing every bit of. I mean, look at our news list. Like, we can't get away away from this, but we're not the normal viewer, right?
Right. That's true. Yeah, I suppose we'll see. I'm intrigued. So now, like, I'm literally Googling every single thing. Like, I always get, like, Netflix puts out a trailer every month, and even though I don't watch it, I like to know what things are coming, and I always watch here's what's coming in January, and sometimes they put out press releases, and you see them spat out and copied everywhere else, and it says here's what's coming, here's what's leaving. And now I'm so obsessed. Now I'm like gonna be checking like every day to see like if HBO Max is here's what's leaving, Doctor Who's leaving on hell, it might drop tomorrow. I mean, HBO is shedding their own material, let alone Doctor Who.
Westworld, who needs that?
Who needs that? They're getting rid of Westworld. They made the show and it's gone. It's gonna be gone from their own service. It's very strange. So
not to go too far off the plot here, but I was listening to The Town, which both me and Steven listened to, which is Matt Bellany, I think his name is, talking about different Hollywood goings on, and he made the point the other day that, well, we're just going back to cable, like you said, Steven, because a bunch of the stuff's becoming ad supported at the same time that people want to strike, which is putting them in a terrible position, because they're like, all right, well, go ahead and strike. We don't care. We're making money off ads now again, like we did before. It's not the golden age of streaming anymore. It's less of a golden age.
It isn't. So, yeah. And I imagine that, Disney probably owns all of Doctor Who. I assume that perhaps they had to, basically make it a new show so Disney could basically own it outside of the UK. But now it looks like that it's just all sort of the part of the same package, and it could be theirs, and it might be.
Which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I'm I am very fine with it. Yeah.
You're going to say what I think you're going to say, which is now you won't get the Crave versions, which have all the commercial breaks built in.
Oh, God. Just, no.
And the wrong formatting.
Yeah.
Well, they might have the wrong formatting. Disney's not perfect in that regard. But when people complain, they do something about it.
The Simpsons, for example.
Yeah.
But they did change that.
They did change it.
You can change it to default 4.3, which I did.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I said this before, but I think that in North America, certainly, I think Doctor Who sort of took a dip from the public eye once it left Netflix. Once it left like in 2016, when Netflix was basically the big game in town, and all the other fledgling streaming services that we know of today were either non-existent or just very sort of like finding their foothold. And once you took it away from sort of being, away from the default streaming service, I think a lot of people just sort of forgot about it, and it sort of faded into the background a little bit. Now, if you have 13 seasons of Doctor Who, some people might not have caught up on Doctor Who. Once it left Netflix, they never sought it out again because it wasn't on Netflix, and they had to go seek it out on BBC America or AMC Plus or HBO Max. And now that it's on Disney Plus, which a lot of people have, and if there's 11 months and no Doctor Who until the new Doctor Who, and it's going to be on Disney Plus, why not watch it? Why not have it on there for them? So we'll see. I mean, the fact that some of the episodes, like in Australia, are hanging on until probably October, with like The Power of the Doctor, they probably have rights, unless they buy them out, unless they pay.
It's gotta be a legal thing, I think.
Yeah, there has to be something about that. But there's enough smoke here that it leaving Crave in Canada, which seems tied more or less to how the US is going to be broadcasting it. I think there's something afoot here, so I'm intrigued to see what happens in the coming weeks, to see if there's going to be an announcement or something about all of Modern Who coming to Disney Plus. We'll see. Also, I should point out that on BritBox, there was a bit of a scare because BritBox UK, I should say, on Classic Doctor Who, it was said there was a little thing that says this is leaving on like January 1st or something like that, and everyone sort of panicked. BritBox UK replied to someone saying, "Don't worry, Doctor Who isn't leaving us just yet. We have this until at least next year, hopefully longer, depending on licensing." But I will say December 25th, an Adventure Space and Time, K9 and Company, the 2013 special Tales from the TARDIS, and the TV movie, once again, has no home. They are leaving BritBox UK on December 25th. So some ancillary Doctor Who stuff is going, but classic stuff.
Just out of curiosity, I fired up Disney Plus on my office TV to see if there's a tile for Doctor Who. There is not.
No, I know.
But there is a tile for Strange World, the massive bomb that just came out. It's already being lauded as, hey, coming soon, because we got to make money off this thing somehow.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. Warren, you're not alone.
Yes.
I have done that exact same thing, checking to see if there's a Doctor Who tile. Like,
the madness. You see what I mean? This is what I'm talking about, the madness consuming us. I know people who stopped watching when Capaldi was a doctor, probably stopped after, didn't get back to it, Jodie. So maybe they'll see this stuff now if it's not Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, it might not happen. It might not be January 7th. It might not be like the next day.
No.
It might be February 1st or something. Who knows? But
February 17th, the day Gallifrey 1 begins.
oh, wouldn't that be something if they timed it to that? I think that's the day that Star Trek Picard drops. For what it's worth, there, Warren. If you want to.
Well, I think we have a clear winner. Doctor Who reruns.
Doctor Who we've seen before, or the last season of Star Trek Picard.
Let's see here. Fear Her or Picard season 3. Here it is.
Yep.
Scribble Monster wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably wrote Picard season 3 too. I shouldn't be so hostile, but I am.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Well, it's a Saturday night. We got to do something with our rage, I guess. Warren just saw Avatar, The Way of the Water, so he's got a bunch of absolutely hated us. No spoilers. I'm just going to speak for Warren here. One of the worst movies he's ever seen.
Absolutely untrue.
I'm just kidding.
1 second review, it will assault your eyeballs. It's very impressive looking. It's as much it's a lot of James Cameron in both good and bad ways. Let's put it that way.
Also, what's good, which is a tease. I hated watching this in a way. It was this, Benjamin Cook has been doing these secondary trailers. Usually, once the actual release of the Doctor Who collections comes a new trailer from Benjamin Cook. There's one for the season 2 trailer, which came out in the UK recently. It's really good. I'm upset because it's not even available for pre-order yet. Still in this continent, I am so upset. Hate it.
You could just buy the UK version.
I don't want to, Chris. I don't want to.
It would look different on the shelf,
it would.
after all.
I got my Abominable Snowman, and I've watched 2 episodes so far. And I'll probably keep it at that for the next 3 months or so.
Yeah.
I have yet to watch Abominable Snowman or Galaxy 4.
Yeah, I watched Galaxy 4. I watched all
or season 22.
Oh, boy.
It's just more fun to complain about not getting it than it is to actually watch it.
You know what?
It's, it's quicker to complain than it is to watch
Well, there's
it.
that, yeah.
I'll say that much.
I mean, if I wasn't at such a premium for space, I would probably get the UK version and then get it again when the North America version comes out, because I have a good feeling about BBC releases in that I bought Neverwhere on Blu-ray. It came out like 10 years ago on Blu-ray. Neverwhere is the 1996 series.
Verity did their episode
from Neil
on that,
Gaiman. Yeah, we're watching, and Erica has the North American DVD version, and I was thinking, I wonder if this is ever came out on Blu-ray, and it did. It came out in the UK on Blu-ray, and I thought, oh, well, you know what? I got a region-free player that I don't have as my main player, and I can rip it to a disc and I can use it. But I popped it in the Xbox and it worked. That's not the first time. Shada, I have the BBC Shada version that worked. I think Brian Pern Life of Rock is another BBC Blu-ray selection. It worked. So I have a good feeling about Doctor Who Blu-rays might being region free. But do I want to test that? Do I want to order the season 2 box set?
I seem to remember somebody telling me they are.
That they are region free? Well, I guess I'm buying some shoes and a Blu-ray set, thanks to this episode of Radio Free Skaro.
Vegan Blu-rays.
Some vegan
orange top and Gallifreyan nail tattoos.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't have the physique that Ncuti Gatwa has to adequately pull that off in the way that I want to.
Nor do I.
No, so Ncuti Gatwa, you keep that outfit. You keep that. I'll wear my Tom Baker scarf and maybe a vegan version of your shoes and that'll be as far as my cosplaying goes. So anyway, we wait for a season 2 pre-order here in North America. Alas.
The most put upon continent of all.
Oh, are we though? I mean, even Antarctica probably has a pre-order for it, Ridiculous. Let's look back in this week in history as we always do on this podcast. It's the Timelash, folks. Various events, either behind the scenes or in front of the camera on our TV screens that happened this week, and a little bit in Doctor Who history. We're going to go over through to December 26th today because our next episode will be on the 27th. December 18th, a bunch of stuff happened. Anything jump out to you cats for December 18th? What do you got, Warren?
Well, 1967, Kit Pedler is commissioned to provide a storyline for the Wheel in Space, only because my immediate next thought was just him going, "You want a storyline now? Come on, man."
I gave you space. I gave you a wheel. What else do you need? Honestly.
Cybermen or something? Come on. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Introduce a new companion. What?
I don't think he did that. I don't know what all Pedler contributed. I know he did the storyline, and Derek Sherwin mostly filled out the dialogue, I think, is how it worked out. I remember being disappointed because I had the Target novelization, gave it away, and then only years after did I realize how rare it was because there's a fire or something that burned a lot of the existing copies of the Wheel in Space novelization. But the space station on the cover, the eponymous wheel, looked nothing like what the rinky-dink model you see in the Wheel in Space, and it looks like
the Ark in Space, Nerva Beacon. More or less.
It kind of does, yeah. It kind of does.
Also, is that the one where the two Cybermen are just standing around in space by the station?
Yeah, a little bit.
That always bugged me.
Yeah, I'd still like to see it back. I'd still like to see the official Telesnap Recon, which is only available on BritBox. I'd like that to be on a DVD somewhere, and I imagine it will be when the Series 5 set comes out, but. Anyway, that's as much as I thought we'd talk about the Wheel in Space on this episode of the podcast today.
Yeah.
And I might
1985, after months of rumors, the BBC publicly confirms that season 23 will run to only 14 episodes.
Wow.
Is this the end of Doctor Who? Oh, maybe, yeah.
Could be.
A trend that continued for the last 4 years of its run altogether.
That's true. I remember didn't the BBC try to spin this thinking, well, you know what? There were only 13 last season, so this is an increase, not letting
Despite
go.
the fact that it was double-length episodes.
Twice as long. Yeah, exactly. So,
and then a year to the day later, Colin Baker confirms he will not be returning to Doctor Who for season 24.
Yeah, I know. Sad. Poor Colin Baker, man. Obviously, that happened pretty quickly. That whole foofara, because he's let go in late October of '86 when John Nathan Turner said that. I'm not even sure when they announced it that he wasn't coming back. I think we talked about it on this a couple weeks ago, maybe. And then he was basically saying, well, I'll do, they said, do you want to do the first story in season 24 and regenerate at the end of that? This is, how about I do the whole season and regenerate at the end of the season? And they says, we'll get back to you. And then obviously they never got back to him. And so it took 2 months basically to say, Colin Baker, you're fired. And Colin Baker, you're never coming back. Very sad. Poor Colin Baker.
Bad management, too.
Yeah. Oh, lots of bad management.
More on that on December 19th.
That's a spoiler. I haven't looked ahead. I do want to point out 1987, and I'm going to say it like this. Ben Aronovich is commissioned to write the final 3 episodes of Remembrance of the Dogs. Why am I saying that? Because we've...
Aronovich.
Aronovich, that's what it is.
Aronovich.
Aronovich.
I'm not getting in the middle of this.
Because I'm saying that because Gav Reimel on a recent Terry Nation Army, he was covering the Special Weapons Dalek. Seek it out, by the way.
Pronouncing it wrong?
He used it. He said Aronovich during the whole thing, and people pointed it out. And then he tweeted out a couple days ago, here's a clip of Ben Aronovich saying his name, Ben Aronovich. So I think we've been saying it wrong the whole time. So
sorry, Ben Aronovich.
Baron Aronovich is how you should be saying it. I'm going to
call him Baron from now on for sure.
Baron Ben Aronovich.
Baron Trump Aronovich.
Yeah. So anyway, seek that out, by the way. The whole making of the Special Weapons Dalek. Superb episode, once again, from the Terry Nation Army folks. Tell us, Chris, what's happening on December 19th that has you so excited?
I wouldn't say excited. It's
okay.
A continuation of what you were talking about.
All right.
1986, Colin Baker rejects the BBC's offer to return to Doctor Who for a final 4-part story at the start of season 24.
There it is. I think Who FX might have done a thing a while back about the original version of Time in the Ronnie that had Colin Baker appear and die at the end. I think it was Bayes who eventually took that role about sacrificing himself to make sure the rocket took off. And I think that was supposed to be Colin Baker's Doctor in the very initial outline. I'm curious how far that went, but yeah, boo.
1961, happy birthday, Matthew Waterhouse.
Matthew Waterhouse, young Adric, who I've only just started watching on my daily pilgrimage. Just debuted more or less a couple nights ago. Yeah, what is that? How is he? 61? Adric is 61. Is that right? Is my math right? Am I right with that?
Your math is right. Yep.
61 years old. Wow.
It's another reason I hate math.
Yeah, I don't like that either, Warren. Whoa. That's depressed me a lot.
2018, Death of Bill Sellers, director of the least racist episode ever of Doctor Who. The Celestial Toymaker.
Racist episode. And also directed a lot of All Creatures Great and Small. That's where I knew the name from.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I think he did. I think it was he did that. I remember watching to the end and think, oh my God, it was Peter Davison in that show. That's all I knew about that.
Sellers' greatest success was inarguably All Creatures Great and Small, which he produced intermittently from 1978 through to his retirement in 1990.
Oh, good for him. Good for BBC directors when they could retire back in those days. You know, you're retired now. Kindly go away. Moving on to December 20th. Whoa, goodness me, what exciting times. A lot of people commissioned to write things on December 20th. Peter Ling is commissioned to provide a storyline for The Mind Robber, which he did. That was 1967. So about a year before that actually started being made. Did you react to something there, Warren? Is there something that jumped out at you?
No, I was just agreeing with you, although something has jumped out at me since.
Okay.
And that is the line, in 1982, significant problems with the chameleon prop. I don't even care what surrounds that. That's just the essence of the chameleon prop.
About the recording for King's Demons takes place in BBC TV Centre, and significant problems with the chameleon prop forced the scheduling of an extra studio day in January. Day one,
of course.
Basically day one of trying this new prop out, and it's already a bust.
Absolute nightmare. Yeah. But I was agreeing with you just before, so don't let me stop the flow.
Well, that's right. I mean, Terry Nation is commissioned to write Destiny of the Daleks on December 20th, 1978, without which we would not have Pip Madeley's advent calendar of what are the Mavellans watching.
Very true, yes. Or the Mavellans showing up with Capaldi.
Or the Mavellans showing up in Destiny of the Daleks. Or there being a steady cam in Doctor Who, because there was in Destiny of the Daleks. Pretty exciting. So I just watched it recently, guys. I love Destiny of the Daleks. What's wrong with me?
It's not good, but it is fun.
So much fun. Love it. Love it to bits. 1979, David Fisher on December 20th is commissioned to write The Leisure Hive, which turned out to be a very different story in the hands of John Nathan Turner and Christopher Hamilton Bidmead, let me tell you. Once they got their hooks into it. Yep. Let's move on. December 21st, which it's probably the solstice. I don't know what day that is. The debut broadcast of The Daleks, Episode 1, The Dead Planet, with the cliffhanger heard around the world. Because everyone was phoning up saying, what is that? What was that plunger at the end of that?
Which errant plumber is out to get it?
Yeah, and I don't know what the ratings were, but I think they jumped between 1 and 2 because there's a lot of buzz going on about what that was at the end of episode 1, and then when the Daleks appeared the week after, everyone was like, "Oh my God!" Well, clearly this show is going to go on for 60 years, and here we are. So there. 1968, the debut broadcast of The Invasion, episode 8 occurred. That one exists, so that's good news. There we go. That's all I got for that.
Yeah, not much going on that day, is there?
No, bit quiet. No,
dwindling.
Holidays.
As we hit the holiday season.
Yeah, a little bit.
December 22nd.
Yep.
Speaking of Time of the Rani, Pip and Jane Baker commissioned to write said Time of the Rani.
Time of the Rani. I guess that answers my earlier question about how far the Colin Baker part of it. I mean, they could have just sort of been like they've already had an idea for it, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they never thought of Colin Baker in there. But Time of the Rani, Warren, your favorite story from the Sylvester McCoy era.
WhoFX, previously mentioned WhoFX, has made me appreciate the special effects, as he pointed out, are exceptionally good.
All right, just like Avatar. It's just like Avatar. It's just 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indistinguishable from Avatar.
Indistinguishable.
Yeah. Exactly.
But having said that, it is still a hot pile of garbage.
Yep.
In 1979, the world had the Horns of Naimon unleashed upon it. Episode 1's debut broadcast.
Yeah.
The peak of the show, one could say.
Oh, man. That is so
Witchling
glorious.
scum.
Yeah, it's going to be great. By the way, one of our things we were recording, I could say this. One of the things we were recording on our little Christmas party get-together is a commentary, folks, for the Horns of Naimon. I'm looking forward to that.
Take 2.
Take 2.
Yeah. Take 1 was significantly more liquid. Let's
We'll
put it
be
that way.
keeping the vodka in the freezer for that one. We'll be
Take one was 13 years ago.
Wow.
Golly.
We were such innocent, dumb people back then.
Because
Weakling
did
scum,
that,
I think you could call us.
Yeah.
we did that the same day as watching End of Time Part 1.
Oh, that's
think
what
we
made
needed
us
a drink
do it.
after that.
That's what made us do it. That's right.
Because we were, and we weren't, I mean, we weren't very nice to the Horns of Nymon,
No.
amongst other things, because of
Lots
how
of things.
disappointed we were in the
Yeah.
End of Time Part 1, I believe.
A touch punchy, one could say.
A wee bit. Anyway.
Yeah,
Commentary was...
the booze at like 11 a.m. didn't help either.
That's true. Yeah,
it
day
did
drinking. Yeah, it's probably my first experience with that. Anyway, we'll be doing another one to come out sometime. If you're a Radio Free Skaro patron, you'll probably hear that commentary relatively soon, but it probably won't be on the main feed for quite a while. Also, I should say
At least we have the Blu-ray to watch this time.
right. I know it's gonna look nice. The
Glorious Horns of Nymon Blu-ray.
it looks so good. It looks so good, Warren. Oh, you'll.
It looks as good as it's going to look. I'll give you that.
It does. Also, on December 22nd, 1967, Fraser Hines and Deborah Watling received new contracts for Web of Fear and Fury from the Deep. Of course, Deborah Watling's time on Doctor Who ended after Fury from the Deep, so never to appear in Doctor Who again. So very sad, because I liked those two, and they were good. And also, Fury from the Deep no longer exists.
Wah.
Wah, indeed. Moving on, December 23rd, Some Things aired. They recorded some Seeds of Death stuff at Ealing Film Studio on December 23rd, 1968. I think this is unfair. They recorded Enemy of the World on an episode of that in Lime Grove Studio on December 23rd. Did these people not ever think of like taking a week off for Christmas? Man.
Nope.
Lousy
I wonder if it
Beavis.
was due or like, we got to get this done, because otherwise it's not happening.
Oh.
It's not going on the air.
That's true. Got there anyway.
But we did get the debut broadcast of episode 1 of The Power of Kroll.
Yeah, on 1978. Just wait until next
That's a
week.
Christmas special.
Just wait until next week when we talk about the Power of Kroll. Let me tell you. That's a teaser. On the 24th, Christmas Eve, happy birthdays, no longer with us, of course. Innes Lloyd, the third producer of Doctor Who. Yeah, that's right. Born December 24th, 1925. Of course, he was ushered in the concept of regeneration, so a fairly prominent voice in Doctor Who. They recorded an episode of The Highlanders on December 24th, 1966. Nothing. No break for them. Just can't make it. And just to show how Doctor Who was going at the time. So they recorded The Highlanders, probably episode 3 or 4. I don't know which one. Probably 4. That same night, Highlanders episode 2 went out. So that's so ridiculous. It's like 1 to 2 weeks after they make it, it gets broadcast. That's just hilarious to me. Let's move on. Here, are you ready for this? December 25th, Christmas Day. Easily the day
a lot of broadcast appears,
that has the most episodes ever broadcast. 14 episodes total.
All the modern.
Yep,
Yeah.
have been apart from the Feast of Stephen, of course,
Except for, yeah,
in 1965. But yep, the last one being 2017 with Twice Upon a Time. But it looks like that reign will end on December 25th, maybe 2022, with Ncuti Gatwa's first Doctor Who story. That would be pretty cool.
2023, you mean?
All right. 6 years in between Doctor Who Christmas specials. Chris, I forgot what year it was for a second there, and I was
Twice Upon a Time does not seem that far back, even though it is.
really doesn't, does it? No. It's a long time ago, 2017. Yeah, look at that. What a run. Wow. Christmas special every single year from 2005 to 2017. Man. Impressive. Anyway,
Yep.
And the last one, December 26th, literally one thing happened. Debut broadcast of the Dalek Invasion of Earth, Episode 6, Flashpoint. Yes, the scene with Susan, One Day I Shall Come Back, happened this day in history, Boxing Day in 1964.
So people were reclining on their the toys and whatever else that they fought over or exchanged that day. They collapse in a heap, and then they get that thrown at them.
Yeah, jeez. Dalek Mania. That was Dalek Mania in 1964 when there was like Christmas was the big thing, and Daleks were under lots of kids'
suppose
Christmas
so,
trees, and because of that, the rescue went on because of the next story got massive ratings.
Did they realize how iconic that speech was at the time?
No, I don't think so. I think I've said this before. It's only iconic because it features at the beginning of the Five Doctors, and that's the one that everybody's seen more often, you know?
And in Adventure Space and Time, it's put in too. Perfect coda to Adventure Space and Time.
It is. Yeah, because it was so famous in the Five Doctors, I think. But maybe maybe Ian Levine thought, you know what's a good thing that you should put at the beginning of the Five Doctors? This speech from Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Well, it was
6.
right. It is great. It really works.
Really is. Really is. Anyway, that wraps up the time leash, the Timelash for another week. Just some
The time leash is no longer vanilla.
so it's just big finish. Lots of big finish. Doctor Who doesn't take Christmas off to bake the TV show back in the 1960s, and Big Finish doesn't take time off for their press releases. Although, if you want to enjoy The War Doctor, starring the late John Hurt, BBC Radio 4 Extra and BBC Sounds has all the episodes? Am I right on their service starting Saturday, December 17th? So it's out there right now. All of them. Warren, you're a big fan of these, obviously.
I've got all 3 of these ones, yeah. And they are quite good.
Yeah, quite good.
John Hurt is good no matter what he does. The guy could read a recipe and it'd be fascinating.
Yeah. He was a good actor. I don't know if you saw him in anything that he's been in. Was he in anything, Warren? John Hurt? Was he just...
Oh, no, nothing at all. Nothing but Doctor Who that one time.
Yeah. He was in Heaven's Gate. Remember I told you he was in Heaven's Gate?
Yes, and I specifically sought him out in Heaven's Gate. I'm like, as you put it, the most John Hurt performance you've ever seen in your life. I'm like, yep, this is pretty John Hurt, all right.
I know. I was wondering what kind of performance I would get out of him. Thinking, this is a movie set in Wyoming in 1890 or something. But
you know what I always forget he's in?
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
He's completely wasted in it, by the way, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad Doctor Who rescued him, basically, and made him the War Doctor, Because otherwise we would have just had the Crystal Skull to sort of remember, John Hurt.
No, nerds like us would. There's tons of other stuff he's been in. I, Claudius, Quentin Crisp story, The Naked Civil Servant, which he's excellent at.
Midnight Run? Is that what it's called? Midnight Run?
It's not a Midnight Run. No.
What's the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know. I can't read your mind.
Turkish Prison.
Oh, God. I know.
I'm blanking on it. I like the movie.
So am I, and I know what I've watched it recently, and I cannot think
Written
of the
by
name.
Oliver Stone.
Midnight Express.
Midnight Express. He was in that, and really good. And that was his breakthrough performance.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's good in Doctor Who. He's good in the War Doctor, and you can listen to it now. BBC Radio 4 Extra. Also from Big Finish, the Third Doctor Adventures. The return of Joe Jones is coming in February. Lots of stuff coming in February, by the way. Katie Manning teams up again with Tim Treloar as Doctor Who number 3 for 3 different stories, all available February from Big Finish. Also in Big Finish land, the First Doctor Adventures, the Demon Song,
which I thought was a River Song thing at first. I'm like, wait a minute, no, okay, not.
Oh no, it's just standard. Anyway, starring new First Doctor Stephen Noonan. And Dodo Chaplet, as played by Lauren Cornelius. So those are a set of a couple stories coming out in February, which is Gallifrey 1. I wonder if they're timing these for Gallifrey. I don't know that for sure, but there seems to be a lot of stuff coming out in February. And maybe they're going to go to the dealer's room and get some CDs of new Big Finish stuff hot off the press. What else we got here? This is kind of cool. The Sarah Jane Adventures spin-off, Worlds of Doctor Who. Ronnie Takes on the World Beyond Bannerman Road. That's a long title.
It's a pretty great title.
Starring Anjali Mohindra playing Ronnie again, grown up. This is the great thing about this. She's grown up now. She's not playing 15-year-old Ronnie as seen in the Sarah Jane Adventures. And now Daniel Anthony, who is of course the actor who played Clyde Langer, is also going to be joining for this, which is coming out in April. So that's cool. I like it when the original cast comes back and does stuff like this. So way cool. So yay! I'm glad that the Sarah Jane Adventures live on in Big Finish audio form. So that's coming out in April. And there's a couple Torchwood stuff. The Torchwood, the last love song of Susie Costello with Why am I blank on her name now?
Indira Varma.
Thank you, Indira Varma, who's in everything.
Obi-Wan's own Indira Varma.
Oh, she's in Game of
By the way-
Thrones. She's in literally everything. Absolutely everything.
Last love song of Susie Costello sounds like
Right.
some folk hit from 1973.
Or a like new romantic hit from like 1982.
True.
Or
Also
maybe
true.
it was a cover of the original folk version from 1973.
Yeah, there you go.
In 1982 by Adam and the Ants or something like that. Yeah. So that's going to be out. Una McCormack's writing one of those stories, which is pretty cool. I like Una. So that's coming out, in May? There we go. And is that it? Is that all the big finish? Have we covered them all? The Susie Costello one comes out in 2023.
One more.
The Torchwood Among Us Part 1. That's
Based
what
on the
comes
popular
out.
video game.
Yeah.
Not really.
Is it? Maybe it is. They do fun stuff at Big Finish. They could be tying it in. So a lot of stuff. Once again, for Big
That's
Finish.
one of the ones written by Una McCormack.
That's the one. I know. You know what? I forgot to open the link. I missed opening the link for Susie Costello. I'm so sorry. Sorry, everyone. I ruined your experience.
What a crime.
All the links are in the show notes, though, at radiofreescaro.com or on your listening device. That's it for this show. Can you believe that we've done this podcast for like 15 and a half years? And
I can't, and I'm on it.
Enough stuff happens in a week on this silly show that they're not even they only just started making again right now, and we still fill an hour on this podcast. I hope you enjoy the banter and the news, everyone. Next
16 and a half, by the way.
16 and a half years.
Good gravy.
Time. It's all going to be happening in person next week, folks. We're recording it on December 26th, and our episode will come out on the 27th. So don't go looking for stuff on Christmas Day. There will be nothing there. Our Advent calendar is a sham. It's a fraud. It's building up to nothing. But
It's building up to a gap. Couple days.
Yeah. But
Is there anything more Canadian?
then a letdown.
Unsustainable hype.
Then a letdown on Christmas Day, but
exactly.
The Advent calendar continues, and then we'll be back on your feeds with basically 2 episodes in less than a week. So if you look at it that way, it's a bonus. So as we spend the holiday season with you, dear listener. So until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Morning, Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro, subscribe to us on iTunes, and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.